What is good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode brought to you by the League FFB, and more specifically, an episode of Let's Talk Dynasty. We're here again today for our Dynasty Trade Review show. 10 trades loaded up in our presentation for today's episode, all submitted through our Discord. We have a free Discord where people submit those Dynasty trades. So if you're not in that Discord, I strongly suggest going over there at the end of this episode. So next episode, you can have your trades reviewed. But I don't want to waste too much time. It would not be a trade review show without my co-host MFGD. So let's get him into the building and let's start talking some Dynasty trades. How we doing, man?
We cooling, man. We cooling, man. We in here, man. It's OTAs, you know what I'm saying? It is what
Just
it
like
is.
these receivers out there that got the glasses on at OTAs, you're out here, same vibe, huh?
Yeah, man. Wide receiver one in the building.
Hell yeah. All right, well, let's just hop into it, man. I got 10 trades over here. We'll pull the first one up. I will admit, there's quite a bit of JJ McCarthy in today's episode, a little bit of foreshadowing, but this is the first trade. 12-team Superflex tiered PPR, start 10. You get JJ McCarthy and a 2027 first-round pick. You have to give up CJ Stroud. So probably the tier down for the quarterback, plus the first-round pick in 2 years when it's Jeremiah Smith, Arch Manning, Ryan Williams, all of these studs that we like in the upcoming class. How do you feel?
My first question is this. I'm switch it up a little bit. What are we thinking about CJ Stroud at this point in time? Do you think CJ Stroud in year one as a rookie is more indicative of who he is as a player, or do you think year two CJ Stroud is more indicative, or do you think it's somewhere in between?
Yeah, I mean, I truly do think it's somewhere in between. I think one thing that we need to account for is the fact that offensive line has gotten a lot worse. It was a lot worse last year than it was as a rookie. And, he dealt with some injuries on that offense as well. I think at the end of the day, he's probably a little bit more in the middle. I've just been updating my Dynasty quarterback rankings for a video that actually drops today. So for the folks that are watching this tomorrow, we're recording it on Friday, but the quarterback episode came out today or yesterday when you're watching this. That was very confusing. I'm sorry. I will never do that again. But at the end of the day, I've been updating them. CJ Stroud to me is a top 12 guy still in my Dynasty quarterback rankings. And I have JJ McCarthy as like a top 17-ish type of quarterback in my rankings, 17, 18-ish range for me. So he would be in the tier below, which is the reason why you get the 27 first. So for me, I think this is probably fair. It just depends on how you feel about JJ McCarthy as a quarterback. I said in that episode that I really do feel like JJ McCarthy is one of the few quarterbacks in this year's like lottery ticket type of tier where I feel like there's a couple names in there like T-Law. We expect T-Law to hopefully take that jump with Liam Cohen and Travis Hunter. We want Michael Penix to take the jump. We want Cam Ward to come in and take a jump. I think JJ McCarthy's in that tier. I think he's the most likely to see his value increase in that tier of guys. And I would not be surprised. I'm going to say it, hand to my heart. I know, we got the purple and the yellow in the back at the end of the day. I think JJ McCarthy has the best chance. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I think of those guys I just mentioned, he has the best chance to be in CJ Stroud's tier a year from now, 2 years from now, with the coach Kevin O'Connell in the offensive system that he's in with Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson. So I don't hate this at all. If you're rebuilding, you need some extra depth, you tier down, you get the first round pick. Hopefully that team that you got the first from is mediocre because then you'll be in play for a guy like Ryan Williams or something like that. But at the end of the day, that's kind of my thoughts. How do you feel though?
You know what? I do see this as fair. Here's why. Because when you think about the Houston Texans as an organization, they kind of have a track record of a quarterback coming in as a young player, setting the world on fire, and then slowly starting to fizzle out because of the dysfunction and the lack of having credible weapons, which I think his weapons are fine. But his offensive line is just, they butchered it. And they continue to butcher it. So it's a question of, do I want a player in JJ McCarthy who we know, if you could, and I hate to say it because it makes me sick to my stomach. We know that the Vikings organization, they are the most complete team in the NFC North and maybe the NFL. They are one of the most complete teams. Where do they have a weakness? The only weakness that you could perceive is JJ McCarthy. And we don't know if he's a weakness because he has a fucking magician as head coach. Like, so yeah, man. I would honestly, this deal is fair because of the potential of JJ McCarthy, who his coach is, the 27th first, and just the stability of the organization versus the instability of the organization for the Houston Texans and CJ Stroud.
Yeah. I mean, look, dude, I had somebody the other day want to debate about Jordan Addison, and I kind of engaged in the conversation a little bit because they said he had too many touchdowns, or he's touchdown dependent, and so he can't repeat his, production that he had. And I said, dude, he had 9 touchdowns. It's a really good amount of touchdowns, but it's not like he had 13, 14, which that's usually when we're saying, you can't repeat 14 touchdowns. But also, I went back and I looked at the Minnesota Vikings offense over the last 5 years since 2020. The Vikings are consistently throwing for 30 to 35 touchdowns a year. It's 4,000 to 4,500 yards per year. And that's been with quarterbacks of Kirk Cousins, who's a good quarterback in the NFL, guys like Joshua Dobbs, guys like Sam Darnold, guys like Nick Mullins. And it doesn't matter who's the guy under center, they keep going for 30, 35 touchdowns and 4,000 to 4,500 yards. So JJ McCarthy, a top 10 pick, a guy who, is probably of that group of players that I just mentioned, is the most talented as a prospect at this point in his career. You have to assume that he can probably do the same as those guys, which will be 30 to 35 touchdowns and 4,000 to 4,500 yards. And I'll tell you what, in this offense, that's probably going to flirt with top 12 numbers at the quarterback position. Plus, JJ McCarthy has a little bit of rushing upside that Kirk Cousins didn't have, that Sam Darnold didn't have. So I'm just very excited about McCarthy, and I'll leave it at that. I don't need to, we're going to talk about him a little bit later, maybe not as in depth, but let's go on to the next trade. I'm taking the McCarthy side. I think you said it's fair. Did you pick a side though?
Yeah, I said it's fair / McCarthy side.
Okay, that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at as well. So let's go to the next trade. 10 team, 1 quarterback, half PPR, no tight end premium, and start 10. Team number 1 is a rebuilding roster, so they traded away Brian Thomas Jr., and they got Odunze, Jameson Williams, and a 2027 first round pick in that rebuild. It feels like a lot of pieces to get for BTJ. Do you think it's enough though?
I mean, I think it's fair, but you're taking a risk, man, because if Odunze is mid, then this is a lost trade. Even with Jamo there. Jamo, who I'm way more concerned about than Odunze. Way more concerned. He's the one who I feel has the most to lose from Antoine Randall and Ben Johnson going over to the Bears, by the way, now coaching Odunze. So if anything, if we get something where a situation where Odunze ends up a little less than BTJ, then I'm leaning with the side with Odunze. But this whole thing hinges on Odunze. I can't even get into minutia of the 27 first because I don't know what the landscape is going to be like in 27 as much as we could speculate about who's going to come out and things of that nature. But this whole deal depends on Odunze. So if you feel like you could take that risk and, go with the upside of Odunze, then I think this is a fair trade. But if Rome is average, then it's a huge loss.
Yeah, I mean, I'm totally with you here. I think there's a lot of risk on the Odunze side. I think from a value standpoint today, it's probably enough to make it fair. Have you seen the Odunze coach speak that he's been getting from Ben Johnson right now? He's talking about how, as young as he is, he shouldn't be as mature as he is, and he's in the in the rooms out there preaching, some of the stuff that they want to hear. The consistency is there. He said a young guy shouldn't be as consistent as he is. It's good coach speak. Probably makes you feel a little bit better about Odunze, but I agree with you. There's a lot of guys there like Luther Burden, who's dealing with a soft tissue injury right now and is not at practice. Colston Loveland, DJ Moore. This is the year that we need to see Rome happen. It sounds like the way you're talking, as the Bears fan, you're losing confidence in Rome. Is that true?
No. Okay, so I think me and you talked about this before last season. One of my biggest concerns with Rome, and I said it almost every week, that Rome needs to live on the jugs machine this offseason because there were way too many times where I seen the ball hit Rome in the hands and, he didn't come through. And a few of those times it was in the end zone. So that's something he needs to work on. I'm not worried about Rome as a prospect. And in regards to Coach Ben Johnson saying that, he's mature, he's consistent, that's fine. But the thing is that I need Rome to have a little more asshole in him because all those things were things that I felt about him last year. Last year, I was like, okay, he's very mature. Last year, I was like, he's consistent. I don't think we have to worry about him being a problem in the locker room or acting like a diva wide receiver. But I feel like he actually needs needs a little bit more of that diva wide receiver.
Flip the
So
switch, talk a little shit, act a little
yeah,
arrogant, get it going.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he needs a little bit of that and a little bit of getting on the jugs machine. But I'm not worried about him in general. Like I said, once again, I'm worried about the other piece in this deal, Jamo, a
Yeah.
lot more than Rome Odunze, because imagine if, like, you see, everybody's seen the footage of Anton Randall yanking him aside, getting on his ass on the sideline. Who's going to be that guy? Who's going to be that guy now for the Detroit Lions? And Jamo just seems like the type of guy he needs constant supervision. Like, so I mean, like, we'll see how that goes, man. He has some George Pickens in him.
Yeah, we'll see. It's the devil on the shoulder talking, telling him to do all these things. But at the end of the day, man, I'm looking at this trade. I don't have a big problem with it at all. I think if you're rebuilding, this is fine. I'm okay with you taking the risk. Just understand you are taking risk by going to Roman and JMO in the first. But BTJ, he's a damn good receiver. But I think there's some piece to the puzzle here where some people should say, hey, Travis Hunter comes in and takes, a couple receiving looks a game. Maybe he takes a couple of these big plays where, BTJ was the big play guy. Maybe Travis catches it and takes it to the house on a couple of these. The touchdowns come down a tiny bit. The receptions come down a tiny bit. There's a room where we see a tiny bit of regression from Brian Thomas Jr. as well. So I totally understand that. I still think he's a dog. I'm not really, worried about Brian Thomas, but I think that there's an argument to that. Overall, I don't want to beat a dead horse. I think this is a fair trade. I think it's fine. More risk on the Odunze side, but in a rebuild, I think you're more likely to take some risk because you want to try and find those hits, and I think you can do that here with this side of the deal.
Yeah, and it's the reason why Rome was drafted ahead of BTJ. And I mean, progression's not linear. We see it all the time. A guy could come in and be less than in the first year, and the other guy pops off. Then by the next year, he laps the other guy. So we'll see.
Yeah, don't let anybody tell you Marvin Harrison is a bust, because I've been seeing it a lot lately. 12-team super flex, full PPR, tight end premium, 6-point passing touchdown. We got another McCarthy deal. This time, you're getting Drake Maye and a 2026 third. You're trading away JJ McCarthy in a 26 first. My question for you, War, is obviously, as players right now, the Dynasty community has Drake Maye much higher than JJ McCarthy. Is the gap that first round pick, and which side of the deal are you taking?
Okay, so look, here's the thing, man. I'm a huge Drake Maye fan. Nobody should be looking at this though as if like Drake Maye is miles and miles ahead of JJ McCarthy in terms of value. I just don't see it that way. And once again, like you like to say, not to beat a dead horse, one head coach is Mike Vrabel for all intents and purposes. Hell, not for all intents and purposes, just the fact. Defensive head coach. Yes, he has Josh McDaniels. I think Josh McDaniels is a fraud. So I'm not going to sit here and act like that's some type of huge caveat for Drake Maye that he has Josh McDaniels. And Kevin O'Connell, he's a certified magician. What do you need? Do you need a lady sawed in half? Do you need a rabbit out of a hat? Do you need to escape from underwater, tied in chains? Kevin O'Connell's a magician. He can do all the magic tricks. And now he's going to complete the magic trick of making JJ McCarthy a fantasy football stud. Is that going to lead to dramatic wins during the regular? I don't know. But for fantasy purposes, he's going to make this young quarterback a stud. Now, there's a world where Drake Maye is either the same as last year or just take a small step. So we can see these guys on equal footing. And if that's the case, if we're throwing the first round pick in here, then the JJ McCarthy side is going to win. So 1-to-1, who do I choose? Drake Maye. But I don't know if a first round pick difference versus a third is enough in terms of value.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I think for me, I do think that the gap right now between those guys is large enough that in reality, that's a 2-round move up. You are getting that third back, so it's a 2-round move up. I have these guys currently today 2 tiers apart. So I do view them quite far, and that's because of Maye's rushing upside that we saw last year, and I just viewed Maye as a a better prospect coming into the NFL. Anybody who's been around the channel, they know that Drake Maye was the guy that I wanted in purple and yellow. JJ McCarthy was my second choice. So as much as I like JJ McCarthy, Maye was the guy that I wanted. I felt like, Kevin O'Connell with Drake Maye probably would have had this man looking like Josh Allen. So at the end of the day, I'm probably going to lean Maye here. However, like I said, it just comes down to how much you think JJ McCarthy is going to improve. And I can see and I can hear the comments already. People are probably already thinking that we're so irrationally high on JJ McCarthy. People think that everyone's going to tell us that we're wrong because we're talking about how we think JJ McCarthy can improve. I can see it.
Andrew, this is the part of the video where people are going to comment that I lost all credibility. This is the part of the video. Like, and that's the thing. People hear what they want to hear. I think Drake Maye is a stud. But I honestly think this may be me being, I don't know if I'm irrationally high on JJ McCarthy. I think I might be irrationally high on Kevin O'Connell. Yeah. Like, I think that's what it is. Like, I think Kevin O'Connell is such a great coach. I think Kevin O'Connell could have made Mitch Trubisky a perennial Pro Bowler. That's how great of a head coach I think Kevin O'Connell is. And I just think in terms of coaching that he lapped anything that the New England Patriots could put on the coaching staff in terms of a quarterback developing. And so it really has more to do with that. I think that Kevin O'Connell system is something that can make a like most quarterbacks a stud, like Josh Dobbs, Sam Darnold, guys like that. And it's not, but as a prospect themselves, I think Drake Maye is far and away the better prospect. But I think when you I don't look at this as Drake Maye in a third for JJ McCarthy in the first. I look at this as Kevin O'Connell and Mike and JJ, I was going to say Mike McCarthy, Kevin O'Connell and JJ McCarthy in the first for Drake Maye in the third. I just think Kevin O'Connell's a cheat code, bro. Like, but sure, like Drake Maye, I still think I have Drake Maye shares. I got JJ McCarthy shares. So I don't want people to think that, he thinks JJ McCarthy is better than Drake Maye. I don't. I think that the coaching staff for the Vikings is way better than Mike Vrabel and the fraud Josh McDaniels.
Yeah, I mean, I hear you. I'm going to ask this question because I'm just curious now. As a Vikings fan, I'm curious to hear your thoughts, being the Bears fan in the room. Yeah. When it comes to coaching your quarterback, how many NFL coaches pass Kevin O'Connell, or is he number one to you?
I think it's easier for me to give you my top five.
Okay, give me the top five.
In no certain order. I don't want to do an order. I don't want to do order because I think you
don't want that smoke yet.
Kevin O'Connell, Sean McVay, Andy Reid, Ben Johnson. I'm putting Ben Johnson in the top five. Kyle Shanahan. Those are the five. Those are the five coaches. Not Matt LaFleur. He's not up there. Those are the five coaches that I feel like are cheat codes and could like scheme. Andy Reid's just a vet. Like, I don't even know how to like quantify Andy Reid because sometimes it just seems like the Chiefs don't give a shit till it's time for them to give a shit. But
yeah, I was going to say he was probably left off the list. And I was also going to say that Sean Payton might be getting snubbed off the list.
You know what? We don't like Sean Payton on this show, so he didn't make the top five.
Fair enough. I respect it. I hate Sean Payton, man. All right. I just was curious because I agree. I think Kevin O'Connell, from like an offensive, like you want a coach who can come in and help mold and develop a quarterback in the NFL. I think Kevin O'Connell has to be towards the top of the NFL's list. But over here, I'm going to go with the Maye side. I just think more of a talented player, and that gap is a good gap. It's not enough for me from Maye. It sounds like you're going to go McCarthy in the first, which is fine. That's where we're at.
Which is tough. You know what? I'm leaning more so it's fair than the leaning towards either way, to be honest. Okay, go ahead.
No, you're good. Go finish it up.
Like Drake Maye, I was gonna ask you, do you feel like people are irrationally high on Drake Maye? Like, because he showed flashes, he had a decent rookie season, but like, do you think we seen enough for us to just come to the conclusion that he's the next Josh Allen? Because I feel like that's the conclusion that a lot of people have already come to.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say at Drake Maye's current asking price, I see the potential, but I think a lot of people buying him at this asking price in Dynasty leagues that didn't draft him in their rookie drafts, I'm not a guy that's probably going to be buying at those prices, just to be real, because I think a lot of people are viewing him as like a top 6, top 7 quarterback in Dynasty right now. I saw the other day somebody said like it should be Mahomes and Drake May like back to back, and I'm not there yet. I'm not there. I think May's gonna be really good. But at the end of the day, like I still have Caleb over May in my rankings. I still think that May is probably in a tier with Caleb Williams, in a tier with Bo Nix, in a tier with CJ Stroud, and all of those guys. So I think we still need to see May, take that next step. I think a lot of people have already baked it in, and I'll be honest, I don't think the Patriots have done enough to help him this offseason. They added, some protection up front with Will Campbell, but Stephon Diggs coming off an ACL, as much as I've been a Diggs fan and am rooting for Diggs, it's going to be tough to do that at 30 years old. And Kyle Williams, a third-round wide receiver, I like Kyle Williams. I think he's a sleeper, but you get a third-round wide receiver instead of trying to go get a first or a second-round wide receiver when you had the opportunity to get a guy like they had the opportunity to get a guy like Luther Burden. They had the opportunity to go get a guy like Jaden Higgins. And they chose, let's just get another running back to run this football because that's what Mike Vrabel likes to do. And they went and got Travion Henderson. So, yeah, I think we still got to see some stuff, but obviously the potential is there. And if I'm in a startup, I'm still drafting Drake May as like a top 10 quarterback.
Got you.
All right, let's go to this next one. 12-team Superflex, full PPR, tight end premium. The context we got was the 105 is Travis Hunter. We did not hear who the 107 was, but it sounds like Judkins, Henderson, and Tet were all off the board at 105. So there's a chance that we're looking at like Cam Ward here at 107. Who else would that have been? Can't really remember. Anyways, probably, yeah, anyways, a lot of the running backs are off the board. So probably not going to matter. Trades the 105 and the 107 for Drake London and Kyren Williams. At the end of the day, Trav and one of these rookies for London and Kyren Williams. What are you doing?
Man, I'm leaning London and come on, man. Kyren Williams, man. Look. You know what I'm about to do, right? Rookie fever. I think it's coming around. That's what's happening, man. I'm not about to take no Travis Hunter over no Drake London. He can't even run routes right now. And hold on. I say it right now. Right now. He got chicken legs. He can't run them right now. And Kyren Williams, I think, because you know how I'm about running backs. I'm more cool with Kyren Williams going for like one of those picks. But the Drake London part is just was getting me. I can't really think of many assets in this draft that maybe Jeanty that could like equal Drake London.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the same way. Before you sang the song, I was thinking it. I heard it in the back of my mind is the Rookie Fever song. But look, I'm taking Drake London and Kyren Williams, especially if guys like Henderson and those guys are off the board. Hampton, Henderson, all of these guys are off the board. It's basically Trav, and maybe if you wanted the running back, you're reaching up at 107 to go get a guy like RJ Harvey. And it's like RJ Harvey and Trav for London and Kyren. Give me London and Kyren. At the end of the day, like I still think Kyren's going to get the contract. I think he's still probably going to be the running back that the Rams rely on. They always keep drafting these guys that are like 3rd round picks, 4th round picks, 5th round picks. Yeah. And then every offseason we're like, whoa, that guy's going to come in and take Kyren Williams lunch money. And then Kyren Williams goes out there and just has like a 20 fantasy point per game season. And that's just what happens. Like I'm kind of sick of fading Kyren Williams. Maybe now that I've said that, this is the year that it happens, but I just don't believe it. And then Drake London, he's like a top 12 dynasty wide receiver, no ifs, ands, buts about it. I think he's going to be fantastic this year with Michael Penix the whole year.
Man, by 2027, man, Blake Corum is going to be the starting running back.
Yeah.
About 2027, man, I'm telling you. Is Kyren Williams the new?
You don't like Jarquez Hunter?
I mean, we got to see, man. He remind me of Jacquizz Rodgers. The name too close, and the scenario is way too close. Do you think, man, why am I drawing a blank, bro? Do you think Kyren Williams is the new, bro? I'm drawing a blank. James Conner. Do you think he's the new James Conner?
He's always gonna be replaced, and then he never is replaced ever. Like it's very likely that is what is happening.
Yeah, we'll see, man. But I'm out of the business of fading these running backs. Well, no, let me talk. That's like my whole thing on this show is me fading running backs. But I'm not gonna be so quick to write these dudes off. I'm just not trading a good wide receiver for one.
Right. We're at Rookie Fever. I think it's coming around. All right, I'm out. Yeah. Let's go to the next one. 10-team Superflex, full PPR, tight end premium. and start 9. Derek says he's rebuilding. We get Marvin Harrison and a 2027 first for the 101 Ashton Jeanty and 2/3. War, talk to me.
Well, from my perspective, somebody just traded a 27 and 26 third for a 27 first, because that's what I see, because Marvin Harrison Jr. is worth a 101. He's worth the 101. And y'all gonna find out the hard way, man. I feel sorry for the sick individuals. I feel sorry for the souls. I pray for the souls of all these people that's selling Marvin Harrison Jr. when this season comes up and he's putting up equal to or greater than numbers than Malik Neighbors. And then people are going to be saying, oh man, why did I trade Marv? Why did I trade Marv? And that's what's going to happen here, because I think too many people are thinking like he's mid. And one of our, well, not one of our leagues, because we're not in this league together, Drew, but in a league that one of our mutual other league mates and I are in, like, he keeps telling me that I should trade Marv for Odunze. As much as I love Odunze, he's a bear. I'm not doing it, man. I still have Marvin. I still see Marvin as the generational wide receiver that we thought he was going to be. I still think he's going to end up being the best wide receiver in that draft class. I still think it. So when you take that into consideration, trading him for a running back, as elite as Jeanty could be, trading him for a running back, just not in the question. And you get another first for 2/3. Come on, dog.
Yeah, I mean, that's where the deal gets lopsided for me, is the first for the thirds, basically, because I think we've said it multiple times throughout the offseason that we felt like Marvin Harrison in this class, say he goes back to college, comes back out now as a senior, we're probably talking about him as 101. That's just the way that it is. So I think that's how I'm viewing it, is the 101. And Marvin, if you want to say like, the 101's a little bit more valuable, sure, whatever. I'll let you even say that, but it's not the gap between the first and the thirds. That's just not how it is. So yeah, I like Jeanty. I think Jeanty's great, and the draft capital is elite. But I'll be honest, as much as I like Jeanty, I would not be surprised if 2 years from now somebody like Hampton or somebody like Henderson had outscored him in those first 2 seasons as a fantasy producer. I wouldn't be super surprised. I don't think it's likely. I still like Jeanty as the number 1, but I would not be surprised if somebody in this class outproduces him as a running back. So I also think, he was the clear-cut 101. You couldn't have took anybody different after what he put together in college and, the landing spot and draft capital that he got. But I think that maybe that's just more of a testament of how good I think this running back class is and the value that you could have got in the middle to back of that first round. So yeah, that all said and done, that's pretty irrelevant of a talking point for this trade. But Marvin Harrison in the first, I'm just taking that side of the deal. And I'm going to run with that, especially in a rebuild. Yeah. Are you kidding me? Trade the running back for a wide receiver in a rebuild and get an extra first?
Yeah, man, we could do a whole episode on players that's getting faded too. We should do an episode about that. Just players just getting faded way too early. Marvin Harrison Jr. did not have a bad rookie season. Caleb Williams did not have a bad rookie season. These people is just they minds are just like,
yeah. I think guys like Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase and Puka Nacua spoiled the fuck out of people, and now everybody expects like if you don't do that as a rookie, forget about it. You're a bust. You're washed. Whatever. At the end of the day, it is what it is. I challenge y'all. Go back and look at AJ Brown's rookie season. Go back and look at Amon-Ra St. Brown's rookie season. Go back and look at, some of these other guys. CeeDee Lamb's rookie season. Go look at those rookie seasons compared to a guy like Chase, Puka, Jefferson, and tell yourself, are you discounting Amon-Ra St. Brown, or are you discounting CeeDee Lamb or these other guys because AJ Brown, because they didn't perform at 1,500 yards as a rookie? That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, man. If every season in the NFL was the exact same, then we could already predict that Jaxon Dart is going to have the best rookie season by NFL quarterback since Jaden Daniels, because that's what's happened. Like, the second quarterback taken has been, record breaking, while the first one taken has struggled. Every season is not the same, man. So stop thinking that because a rookie has a good rookie season but not a legendary historical rookie season that they're a bust. Like, because that's what I feel like it is now. There's no shade of gray either. you break records in your rookie season and have a legendary season, or you're a bust. That's why I feel like a lot of people minds are.
So what you're saying is I should go buy Jaxon Dart. Noted. Let's go on to the next deal. I'm going to go to a 12-team super flex, full PPR, no tight end premium. We get Rashee Rice and Emeka Egbuka for Christian McCaffrey, Odunze, and Isaac Guerendo. Probably just the handcuff there for CMC. So really, it's just CMC and Odunze for Rice and Egbuka. What side are you taking here?
Oh, man. I'm going to reluctantly take Rice and Egbuka. I'm going to reluctantly take that side because I love Odunze. I definitely think he's the most valuable standalone player in this trade. But Rashee Rice is a proven stud when healthy. Egbuka, I don't like his landing spot, but I do like the talent. I feel like if we're talking Rice for Odunze, I think that trade is either equal or leaning slightly towards Odunze, but I feel like Egbuka for McCaffrey and Guerendo, I'm almost leaning heavily towards Egbuka. Christian McCaffrey is a damaged asset at this point. So, and Guerendo, he might be a non-asset because the 49ers cycle their backup running back like draws. So
yeah, I mean, Jordan James just got put into it. So, look, I view this as probably the fairest trade of the day, in my opinion, because I think Odunze and Rashee Rice are the same tier of wide receiver right now. I prefer Odunze as a prospect, obviously, of what could be. I think his ceiling is higher, but Rashee Rice has kind of already flashed us what a ceiling could be, and that's also very high. So I think both of these guys are pretty equal. It's more so just pick who you like, what's your favorite flavor. And then for me, like Egbuka and Christian McCaffrey, the way that I view this is like I prefer Egbuka to Christian McCaffrey, but I think that they're equal because if you were going to try and trade Christian McCaffrey this offseason, which I was trying to trade Christian McCaffrey at times, speaking of players that I think are being faded too far, faded into oblivion, I think McCaffrey fits that mold. For me, I am not out on Christian McCaffrey for the record. I'm going to be very into Christian McCaffrey in 2025 for redraft and best ball purposes. Dynasty, it's a little bit different, but I think he still has some left in the tank. So if I was trading Christian McCaffrey, I would have wanted like the 107, 108, 109 type of range, and that's right where Egbuka was getting drafted. So, I think that's very fair. This is a very fair trade to me. I'm going to lean Rice Egbuka if I have to pick a side, but this is the best trade of the day from a value standpoint, being fair, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. It's not far off at all. Like I said, it's more of a pick your flavor type of thing, and it gave me a trade idea for another league. So I don't think it's a bad trade at all. I do lean the right side, but if you got the other side, then you didn't do too bad either.
For sure. All right, let's go on to the next trade here. We're going to 12-team super flex, full PPR, half-point tight end premium, and start 10. You get DeVonta Smith in the 104. You trade Jaylen, Waddle, George Pickens, now of the Dallas Cowboys, and the 203. I mean, how are we feeling?
I'm taking my son and George Pickens in the second over
Really?
DeVonta. Yeah, over DeVonta. My son had a bad season, man. He had a bad season. He'll bounce back. I don't know what's going on. I think he might have been nicked up. I think there's a lot of BS going on. The fading star of our guy. No, not Tyreek. I'm talking about the coach. The fading star.
Mike McDaniel Mike
McDaniel, see,
right?
His name used to just roll off my tongue. He used to be one of the top 5 guys. Like how I was naming the top 5 guys, he definitely would have occupied that Andy Reid spot, but his star has faded so fast, which sucks because I like his personality as a coach, but I think this might be his last season as their coach. If guys like my son and things, and Tua gets hit in the head again, I feel like, that might get him out of there. But the reason I'm taking that side mainly is because I have big time expectations for George Pickens with Dak Prescott. Big time. A lot of people like to fade Dak Prescott, man. They act like Dak Prescott is trash. Dak Prescott does what he needs to do. He could support CeeDee Lamb and he could support George Pickens. George Pickens finally has I don't want to say an adult in the wide receiver room because CeeDee Lamb could be a head case too sometimes. But he finally has somebody in the wide receiver room that could big bro him a little bit and, kind of like probably keep his head on straight. And I feel like he didn't have that in Pittsburgh because it's like he was the best one. So it's like, he's clearly not.
And before he was the best one, it was Deontay Johnson, who's the damn head case himself. So
yeah, head case himself, and not as good as CeeDee Lamb. So It's like I feel like he'll fit in good there, and I think he's gonna have a huge season. A lot of people are still trying to like buy him low. For me, in Sumley, it's not going to happen because I think that he's going to have a huge season. I think that him by himself is going to have a better season than DeVonta Smith. I mean that. So now we're really looking at the first, Waddle, and 203. And I'm sorry, I can't really think of a player that will be taken fourth in this past draft that I would want more than Jaylen Waddle in a second.
I disagree. And I think the reason why is because when I'm looking at this group of wide receivers, DeVonta, Waddle, Pickens, Smith is my highest ranked wide receiver in my rankings. And then I'm looking at that 104 and I'm thinking, at 104, I can get maybe Travis Hunter. If I can't get Travis Hunter, I could go Amari Hampton. If I can't get Amari Hampton, I'll go Tet McMillan and be okay with one of these guys. It doesn't really matter to me. I get one of those four guaranteed. And I would have that player, whoever it be, Tet, Hampton, ranked much higher than Pickens and that 203 combined. And I haven't been a Pickens guy. And I'm still not a Pickens guy. I got pushback in the rankings video that I had on the wide receiver position the other day because I have Pickens ranked fairly low and I'm lower on Pickens than other people. And I think I'm not as sold on the change in landing spot because although we do have an upgrade in quarterback, my argument is he's no longer the number one option. So he's going to be the number two option on an offense that has a better quarterback play, better quarterback play, less targets, probably more so range of outcomes. He should be more efficient. There should be more touchdown opportunities, but I don't know if he's going to excel into this elite option that people think he can be when they see the targets or they see some of those highlight catches that he makes and stuff like that. So, for me, I'm just going to take Smith and the 104 in this deal. And if you want to flip Smith again, because in all fairness, I did have DeVonta Smith as a sell in that video because I do think he probably is a little bit overvalued by the community, but I'm still taking Smith in the 104 because to me, the most valuable asset in this entire trade is Hunter, Hampton, McMillan, whoever you want it to be at the 104. And all of this other shit, I don't care about. I just want that best young player on my roster, and I'll figure out the Smith deal if I want to trade him later.
Yeah, man, I'm still taking my son, taking my kid. Okay.
Fair enough.
Taking my kid. All right. That's the side I'm gonna lean with. And I'm a lot higher on Pickens than you, man. I think Pickens is gonna excel as a Dallas Cowboy, man. And is this his contract year as well?
I think so.
He's gonna excel, man. He's gonna put that black mask on, and he's gonna excel, man.
I can't remember what it's called. It's a ski mask, but
I can't either, man. See, man, that's me being old.
Is it a baklava?
Man. I don't think it's a baklava.
I think that's like the white person, what you call it. I think white people call it a baklava, but I think it's called a shiesty.
Yeah. It's called a shiesty. It's a shiesty.
Okay, so white people call it a baklava.
Okay, he gonna put on his shiesty sash baklava. He's gonna put on his black Air Forces. He's gonna go out there. He's gonna catch the damn ball, and he's gonna score some touchdowns, man. We gonna see a better Dak Prescott because of George Pickens, and I have him above DeVonta Smith. And Waddle is gonna have a bounce back. So if those things happen, and I think they will, I think this will either be a fair deal / leaning to the side of Pickens.
Fair enough. Well, I agree with you in the aspect of Dak Prescott is probably the buy of this whole situation, is you should just go get Dak on your team. Let's go to this trade. 12-team Superflex, half PPR, no tight end premium. Ja'Marr Chase, Breece Hall, and a second in 2026 being received for Jaxon Smith-Njigba, Jahmyr Gibbs, and a 26 first. Very easy to decipher this. You get the wide receiver, the running back, and the draft pick. How are you feeling?
Taking the Ja'Marr Chase side because I can make an argument that all three of those assets for just Chase will be pretty close, in my opinion. But then you're getting Breece Hall and you're also getting a second. Would I trade Jahmyr Gibbs for Chase? Yes. And I would add on to Jahmyr Gibbs to get Chase. Would I add on equal Smith-Njigba? It could be like all those things. The first is what kind of makes it a little bit different because I don't know if I would trade all three of those straight up for Chase. But if it was like Gibbs, Smith-Njigba, and a second for Chase, I would do it. So when you add on Breece Hall and another second to the other side, I'm just going to lean that side.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Breece Hall is, speaking of players that are probably being faded, it's Breece Hall is probably one of them. Ja'Marr Chase, obviously being as good as he is, I think the way that I would look at it is probably in a similar way that you just tried to look at it. But I would just say JSN in the first, that's probably what I would expect as an offer for Ja'Marr Chase, and I would decline it if I'm the Ja'Marr Chase owner. So I would expect JSN in the first at the minimum. If we just use that to cross out each other, so take Chase out of the deal, let's take out Smith, and Jigba in the first. It's Gibbs for Breece Hall in a second. I'm gonna take Breece Hall in the second, I think there. I probably just take Gibbs. I'm taking Gibbs there. But to me, that tells me that it's probably a little bit of a fair deal. But because I was probably likely to decline that Smith in the first, I'll lean Chase in Hall here. It's not bad. It's not a bad offer by any means. Like I said, I think it's probably closer to fair than it is unfair. But I think Breece is undervalued. I know the market isn't there on him right now, and Jamar Chase is where it's at for me as the best player in the deal. So I'll take Chase, Hall in the second, even though, when we do the little cross out formula, it feels a little bit more fair than one-sided.
Yeah. I just feel like Chase is such a high valued asset that like he almost alone could equal what he's getting on the other side.
Fair. I just think I think Chase with Gibbs and Smith in first, I probably am going to smash that if I have the Chase side. I'll just take Gibbs and Jigba in the first. But I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
Let's go to the next trade. 10-team super flex, full PPR, half-point tight end premium, and start 10. Nick is a contending roster, so Mr. Nick gets Jonathan Taylor, Brian Thomas, 26 second, 27 first. He gives up Jordan Love, the 101 in Ashton, Jeanty, DK Metcalf, and a 26 third. Where do we start?
I'm assuming that he must be strong at quarterback if he trade away Jordan Love to get JT. So because outside of that, I don't really understand why this deal was made.
How are you viewing Brian Thomas in the 101? How are you viewing that?
I think that's is very similar to how we were saying that Marvin Harrison Jr. for the 101 is probably like fair, right?
Right.
That's what we came down to, right? So that's kind of like how I'm looking at those two assets. Like those two assets are fair. So we took them out of the deal. We're talking about JT a second and a 27 first for DK Metcalf, Jordan Love, and a second. And if that's the case, then
a third.
Feel like a third. It's the glasses, bro. If that's the case, even if that's the case, okay, let's break this down. Without doing asset for asset, let's break this down from Nick's perspective, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so he traded away 101 and got JT. So is that an admittance that he doesn't think that Jeanty is gonna be, a good running back, or do you think he more so did it so he could upgrade at wide receiver?
Yeah, I think it's the wide receiver. You just want to have the positional of the wide receiver. And like we said, BTJ and the 101 should be equal value. So, you get BTJ, you trade that 101. I would say this year's 101 is a little bit more fragile than previous year's 101s as an asset. You get BTJ. I think Jonathan Taylor is the supplemental, like I'm losing out on Ashton Jeanty, so I'll trade you, something to get the running back replacement in Jonathan Taylor, who should give me a year or two here still where he's going to be a top 12 option.
You know what? The more I look at this trade, the more I'm starting to feel like Nick pulled the Andrew Mott. The more I'm starting to look at the trade, because how the hell is he contending, but then low key kind of also got the better long-term value in the deal as well? Like, am I seeing that right, or am I tripping?
He got the best long-term youth option in BTJ. He got Jonathan Taylor, who should help him contend as like a top running back option for the next 2 years. And he got a 27 first and second round pick, or the 26 second round pick, but he got a first 2 years down the road. So if he's not contending by then, he can sell off some of the assets in 2026 and then play for Jeremiah Smith or something in 2027.
Okay, so he took advantage of somebody that had rookie fever. I don't know why I did that whole little like
the monologue.
Mental gymnastics is the first, because like now that I'm actually looking at it, it kind of is kind of pretty easy to diagnose this trade. Like somebody wanted Jeanty so bad because really when you think of DK Metcalf, I'm super fading him right now. They don't even know who the hell their quarterback is. And Jordan Love,
I hate DK Metcalf's perception in the community at the moment. I feel like a lot of people really like DK and they're like, oh, he's going to be the number one alpha. He was competing with JSN last year, and now he's going to be the number one alpha. For who? Who's throwing him the football?
Exactly.
In an offense with Arthur fucking Smith.
I don't like that at all. And Jordan Love could be anywhere in between a stud and mid, so you just never know what you're going to get with him. Yeah, this is pretty easy to diagnose. He took advantage of somebody who really wanted Jeanty.
trade Jordan Love because you have other quarterback options. Like I'm not worried about that at all. So yeah, for me, I take BTJ in the first and Jonathan Taylor in the second. That's the side I'm going.
Yeah, me too. And if you look at it, the best asset on that other side is Jeanty, right? 101.
Mm-hmm.
You could almost make an argument that there's possibly 3 assets on the outgoing side that's either a better asset or be a more productive asset. In year 1, could JT be more productive than Jeanty? Yes. Long term could BTJ and most likely will be more productive than Jeanty. Yes. 2 years from now, could a player be coming out in 27 that could be better than Jeanty? Yes. So he put an Andrew Mott on him.
I think it's just sneaky. It's a mix of like, it was very calculated. But I think it's also just the fact that like Jordan Love doesn't get me jumping out of my seat in excitement right now. I think he's for me, like I put it out on X the other day. I was doing my quarterback rankings and I was struggling between like Jordan Love and Brock Purdy. I was like, I don't really know who I want to put above each other. It's probably Brock Purdy at this point in time. I did put Brock Purdy over Jordan Love. So at the end of the day, in a 10-team league, and I know we got a lot of Packers fans that watch because every time we talk about Jordan Love, they always tell us how wrong we are and how last year wasn't what Jordan Love actually is. I agree. I don't know if you know. Yeah, everybody wants, the one that came out and was balling. And I agree. He was injured last year, so I'm giving him that grace. But like range of outcomes here, he's probably closer to the middle. Same way that we said with CJ Stroud. He's probably closer to the middle. And if that's the case, like Jordan Love probably is closer to the Brock Purdy, Kyler Murray tier than he is the Joe Burrow, CJ Stroud type of tier. Maybe not even CJ Stroud. Probably Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert type of tier. So at the end of the day, I don't love most of the assets in that tier. 101's the one that gets me the most excited. I think in the short-term window, you're loving Ashton Jeanty's outlook for the next 3 to 4 years, where Pete Carroll's probably going to run him like crazy. But DK Metcalf, not excited about him. Jordan Love, TBD. Don't think he's a game changer, especially in 10-team leagues with 4-point passing touchdowns. And BTJ, Jonathan Taylor the first. That's where I'm at. And I don't really feel like we need to talk about that too much more. This is the last trade of the episode. We got a 12-team Superflex full PPR. You said what?
Perfect ending. I see Caleb.
Yeah. 12-team Superflex full PPR. No tight end premium at start 11. Here's the trade breakdown for the folks at home listening on audio. Caleb Williams, Jaxon Smith-Njigba, a 26 first, a 27 first, Jaylen Polk, and a 2027 third. That is the receiving side. The outgoing side, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jared Goff, Bucky Irving, Juwan Jennings, and 26 second. So there's a lot of assets in this trade. I think it's 11 assets total in this trade. We'll try and break this down as best as possible. But I think the best way to start this is 12-team Superflex. The 2 best pieces, Caleb Williams and Amon-Ra St. Brown. How do you feel about those 2 assets?
Oh man!
Startup today. You have to pick one of those guys.
And Superflex, I'm taking Caleb.
I'm kind of the same.
Superflex, I'm taking Caleb. And these 2 are boys, so I hate to put them against each other, but Superflex, I'm taking
USC
Caleb.
Guys? Yeah. I agree. And I think it's probably a decent enough margin in a Superflex league. And keep in mind, we've been the Amon-Ra's undervalued. Amon-Ra's the guy that we should be buying. Like, we've been saying that for months now. In every episode. But I would go Caleb Williams over Amon-Ra in a startup today.
The rest of this deal is so easy to break down now that we agreed on Caleb Williams over Amon-Ra St. Brown. Because I could tell you right now, too, I'm also taking JSN over Bucky Irving. I'm also doing that. Yeah. And if I'm doing that, if what's left
Goff
is
and Jennings for the 2 firsts and Polk in the third, yeah.
So winning though, it's reverse. Winning side.
Yeah, I mean, I'm right there with you. I want to break it down better, though, for people. So the way that I would look at this and the way I would break down this trade, because when you get an offer like this, it's very confusing. I think at first it's easy to get overwhelmed. But what I would do is like we did, Caleb Williams and Amon-Ra. I think in a startup, if you wanted to move up from like the Amon-Ra pick to the Caleb Williams pick, throwing that 26 second isn't out of the range of outcomes. I think that's probably very fair. So if you went Caleb for Amon-Ra on the second, I'd cross them out. So then just like War did, we'd go JSN and Bucky Irving. Those are the next 2, highest valued assets. Probably somewhat similar valued in startups, but I think JSN is valued a little bit higher. You could probably go Bucky and Juwan Jennings for JSN and make that fair, and then cross that off. So now you're looking at Jared Goff for 2 firsts, Jaylen Polk and a third. I think, 12-team Superflex, obviously having the quarterback is valuable, but Jared Goff's not worth 2 first-round picks, I don't think. No. at this point in time. So including the 3rd round pick as well. The value goes to that side. It's not a landslide by any means. I think if you're a contending roster, getting Amon-Ra and Jared Goff and Bucky is definitely beneficial on a contending roster. But at the end of the day, the most value in playing in Dynasty long term, obviously we're trying to win championships. That's the whole reason why we play this thing. But also you need to make sure that you can stay relevant and good long enough to win championships, and having guys like Caleb and JSN in those 1st round picks gives you the luxury and the flexibility of being able to do that. Also, fully acknowledge that you and I are higher than most people on Caleb Williams. It's just I see a step forward coming this year with Ben Johnson. And also, I'll be real, a lot of people are kind of living off of Juwan Jennings last season.
Yeah,
I don't believe Juwan Jennings is really that valuable.
Me either. I think they're about to get a rude awakening with Ricky Pearsall having the full off season of not getting shot.
Ricky P.
Yeah, I think they finna get a rude awakening. They did not have Juwan Jennings on that team to be what he was last year. That's not his role. He's gonna go to his regular role this upcoming season, which is utility wide receiver. So
yeah, I mean, look, his play was what gave them the confidence to ship Debo out of town, but also Jennings performed with Ayuk out for the remainder of the season, performed with Ricky P, recovering from the gunshot wound and some of the other stuff like that. Full off season, Ayuk's been, working out, Ricky P's working out. I would assume, when they're healthy, it's Ricky P and it's Ayuk, and then you got Juwan Jennings as the other guy. Also, keep in mind, they signed
Ricky P is the wide receiver 1, or did you just say them out?
I just said it in that order. I think Ayuk's the number 1. But it's Ayuk and Ricky P there. If you want me to do it in order, it's Ayuk and Ricky P. And then, but keep in mind too, they also signed Demarcus Robinson, who stylistically is somewhat similar to Juwan Jennings as well.
That's exactly who I was thinking of when I said utility wide receiver, Demarcus Robinson type of wide receiver, Josh Reynolds type of wide receiver. Tim Patrick, that's like utility wide receiver.
Yeah, for sure. But that's it. I got this cat yelling at me right now. I don't know if you could hear it just a second ago. But I think that's the last trade. That is the last trade. So that'll wrap up this show. Look, all of those trades were pulled from our Discord. Our Discord is free to join, linked in the description. Would love to review your guys' trades on our next episode. We do this every single weekend. I do think that might be a good episode to do, is like undervalued players that we think are being faded right now. If you guys think that that's a good episode, let us know in the comments. We'll try and do that one. We may have to try and get 2 recording sessions in to make that happen, but we can do it because I don't want to miss that Dynasty Trade Show for y'all. I know you guys love it. If you like the content, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. We're getting very close to 5K. My goal is 5K by the end of the month. We are very, very close. I think we're probably 80-ish subscribers away. So if you're just watching this for the first time, hit that subscribe button. That would be really dope to hit by the end of May. Also, make sure you hit the like button if you guys like today's content, found something informative, actionable, entertaining, any of those things, or you just want to help us out and help us reach a wider audience. Hitting that like button helps us out in the algorithm. It pushes us out a little bit farther. So you can do that to help support this channel as well. And War, where can they find your stuff if they want some additional content?
You can find us on Crimson Mask Pro Wrestling. We post short about WWE, sometimes AEW. Come check us out. We trying to hit our 5,000 goal by the end of the year. So we mostly there. Help us get over the hump, and we'll truly appreciate it. Thank you guys. Crimson Mask Pro Wrestling. Check us out.
Hell yeah. All right, guys. We have nothing else for you in today's episode. We will see you on the next one, going through next week, updating the running back rankings, the tight end rankings, and another Best Ball Mania draft. If you missed that on Monday, you don't want to miss it this week because it's very fun. I've been addicted. War says I'm addicted to it. I was ripping Best Ball drafts before this show, actually. But yeah, come hang out with me on stream on Monday night. We'll do something fun. But nothing else for you. We'll see you on the next episode. Till then, peace out.